Hey everyone, it's Kurome Towa. So a long time ago, I put together a list of the worst final bosses I've ever fought. It was shit, please don't watch it. Well, I figured it's been long enough. Might as well finally create the flip side of that list and present my favorite final bosses. Standard one per series rules in effect, and pretty obviously only the ones I fought, no duh. Also, fun fact, these lists always have spoilers. So, there's that. Without any further ado, let's get on with the list. It's fitting how I start with a Shadow the Hedgehog boss, given how I started off with one of the other bosses you could fight in this game in my worst final boss list. Black Doom is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated Sonic characters as a whole, but the boss battles against him, I think it's safe to say, is the most fun fight out of the three final bosses in the game. He has a large variety of attacks to throw at you, all of which look great. The theme song that plays in the fight is grand and menacing, and the atmosphere of the entire fight is amazing. Top all this off, the fight's got a perfect balance of not being overly frustrating and not being too easy either. Now if only we could bring Black Doom back in a future Sonic game, that'd be nice. In the last segment of my least favourite final boss list, I mentioned some fighting game bosses I thought were actually done well. It's difficult for sure, as will be an example of how you could fuck this up for definite. One of the examples I gave doing it right, however, is the boss I'm going to be putting on this list, Darrell. Now, I played Virtua Fighter 4 as a kid, and I have distant memories of fighting her there, but I'm mainly talking about her fight in Virtua Fighter 5, the vanilla version. She hits hard, but is somewhat slow to balance this out. Her AI is skilled, but not ridiculously so. It becomes a battle of skill when you fight her, and that's something I can appreciate to no end. Plus, the arena you fight her in is awesome, as is the music that goes along with it. She definitely makes up for how shit her underwater fight in the second game was. And talking about fighting game bosses makes me want to make a list about that someday. Senran Kagura is a series I wasn't sure I'd be really into. Then a friend of mine told me a bit about it, so I got curious. I got Estival Versus, and I fell in love with this game and series completely. I won't spoil the plot, however little there really is when you look into it. But I will say, a huge selling point to me would be how at the beginning of the game you play as Ryobi and Riona from the Hebicho faction, as they end up finding their deceased older sister being spirited away. One intervention and series of events later, and the final battle that takes place on the beach that was the location of the first stage after the tutorial level puts you in control of Ryobi joined by Riona, just like at the start of the game, fighting their eldest sister for one last time before she finally moves on. As if the reasoning and plot wasn't enough to sell me in this fight, the music is intense and will fill you with dread. Its name is Fear, Anxiety, and Expectation, for God's sake. The battle itself is not as good as the build-up of the music, honestly, boiling down to a sniping fest against a powered-up Ryoki that spams missiles, but it's an amazing end to the story of an amazing hack and slash. Now stop inserting yourself into the spot of the final boss of these games, you lovable glory hog, you. Out of all the Kirby games, my favourites had to be either Triple Deluxe or Planet Robobot. I can't actually decide right now. And Sectonia is the best final boss in the entire series. The fight is a long one, but honestly that's becoming the norm for Kirby final bosses anyway. Despite that, however, it never feels boring or dragged out. Each phase in the fight feels unique from each other, her attacks are flashy as hell, and that evil laugh she occasionally lets out in the battle is damn cool as well. And if you haven't listened to Solid Grace at least once, stop what you're doing right now and go listen to it. Like, right now. Overall, a damn fun climax to a damn fun Kirby game. Also, fuck you, the no not the beast joke is beneath me, you plebeians. This one's a relatively simple one to explain. This is just an insane, fun, and satisfying fight. Millennium Mon is a fair battle. The attacks are pretty simple to dodge, so getting hit by them is entirely your fault, which is something I like to see in a fight like this. Sometimes all you need for a good final boss is just to make it fun to fight, and they certainly managed to do exactly that here. It's just a shame that Wonder Swan version wasn't the one we could fight here. That secret final fizz, though. Holy shit, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were fantastic improvements over Sun and Moon. Yeah, when it comes to content, it was so much better, and even added a bonus episode at the end in a similar manner to Oris. Episode Rocket was a damn good addition to the game, especially with the concept of previous villains coming back to face off with the points at the episode, all of them bringing their legendaries in their parties, on top of their signature Pokemon, and Mega Pokemon in Lysandre's case.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Giovanni happens to be the leader of this operation, so naturally he comes at you with the toughest legendary in his party, Mewtwo, which, of course, Mega evolves too. Damn! I won't lie, this fight was the first one since the new Totem Pokemon to give me some trouble, forcing me to split my Dawnwing's Necrozma into regular Necrozma and Lunala just to stand a chance. But it was a damn fun battle. The music is a freaking epic remix of the Rocket Battle theme, and the whole thing is just made epic with all of this in mind. Ultra Moon definitely put itself high up on my favourite Pokemon game list, and it has my personal favourite post-game in the entire series. That and Lily are the greatest things ever. Sadly, I still prefer Aura's overall, though. We can still agree Lily is top tier, though, right? For all of the problems I have with Tekken 7, no really, why the fuck did you remove Team Battle after the best game modes, you little shits? I fucking love how they handled the story mode of this game. Heihachi being a central character was an unusual twist to the formula, but by the end of it, I was actually rooting for this old bastard. So, suffice to say, they did an excellent job in the writing department. That aside, the final fight against Kazuya was an epic one. They had the right amount of spectacle thrown in, a fair challenge, and Jesus, the music! Every phase was great in every aspect. You see, Azazel, it's not hard! So, a few things to point out before I talk about my love for this fight. First of all, I have yet to play Revelation, so that final boss I can't really talk about. And also, I'm forever a Fire Emblem scrub, who's totally into shipping characters in support conversations, so yes, Birthright is my main game of choice. Though Conquest does have Selena, Charlotte, and Flora, so I'm forever torn. Anyway, the final boss with Garen. Oh god, where do I begin? How about talking about how this might be the best build-up in the entire list when it comes to all these boss fights? After losing Xander and Elise, fuck you for that by the way, after all the shit we had to go through, like losing Flora, just fucking why? We finally come face to face with the man who took us from our father all those years ago and made us think that we were Norian noble blood. The man who's been making our lives miserable and responsible for every tragedy to befall us up to this point indirectly, we finally get to get our revenge on. And then he becomes a fucking dragon. End of all plays, and you know deep down, it's fucking on. Yeah, this was easily the most intense part of Birthright for me, and the battle of my party versus this fucking dragon and his army of undead, I think, was an amazingly fitting conclusion to this version of the story, and when it was done, me and my waifu stood tall after all of it. I genuinely felt accomplished and satisfied, and a bit sad that it was all over. Oh, and Azura's death didn't fucking help my mood there, thanks guys. Oh well, guess I could just play Conquest to get the same sort of feelings, right?
Talk to me!
So, we're here again. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. The fourth game in the series definitely made up for some of the shortcomings of the previous games, with its biggest ever roster of characters. A shame they couldn't keep Lars in, damn he was so good in 2. And its final boss blew Toby and especially Pain out of the water. The fight between Naruto and Sasuke has been practically built up since near the start of the series as a whole, and now it's finally time. And dear god is it good! After a standard fight turns into a quick time event happy sequence featuring badass clashes between the fused Nine-Tails Naruto and Sasuke Susanoo, we get to the second round. A drawn-out one-on-one with occasional flashbacks to previous battles, even going as far as their younger days before officially becoming ninjas. The whole thing gives me a Metal Gear feel, and whilst the conditions to getting these to appear can be a tad confusing occasionally, it all leads up to a fight that's enjoyable to say the least. Hell, I enjoyed this fight so much, I was almost my favorite for a while. But then we do have our tough spot to look at, so yeah, it's obviously been dethroned. What? Why are you looking at me like that for? Yes, I know, nothing Touhou related has been shown up to this point, so you probably figured that I was putting a final boss from the Touhou games on here, right? Well, ha! Joke's on you. I'm not putting a final boss from the Bullet Hells, or the fighting games. I'm putting one from that fan game at the top spot. Shut up! Seriously though, the conclusion of Scarlet Curiosity is so fun, I swear it should be illegal. The level itself was good and set the stage for this upcoming fight brilliantly. First up, we get Sine piloting a giant robot. It's a pretty fun fight, but if this had been the final boss in of itself, no epic atmosphere, amusing music, or charming dialogue beforehand would have convinced me not just to have the catfish, Tenchi, or Yuyuko on here. But luckily for us all, Sine's just the appetizer. The main event? A rematch with Suka, who we battled a while back at this point in the game, and is ultimately revealed as the incident's instigator, who we go round 2 with her, and she's almost the same as her previous fight with a few small differences to her moveset. And it's really good! Her previous battle was enjoyable if a bit simple. This time is almost the same, but there's enough noticeable differences with her attacks and difficulty that leads to a fun, fair final boss to cap off an enjoyable finale to one of the best fan games I ever played. And if you can do that, well then you're doing your job as a final boss correctly in my book. Well, this is Big Kurome Towa, and I think after all of this, I'm gonna seek out that little Oni and hit up some bars, you know? I'll need a lot of alcohol stock though, I assure you. See y'all later. Peace.